Dopamine Detox.
I'm going on a dopamine detox.
Dopamine detox. 24-hour dopamine fast.
Dopamine detox.
Now, gonna kick off the dopamine detox. So, are they a legitimate method for changing your life or a psychological gimmick? To answer this question, we will look at Vietnam veterans, why Leonardo DiCaprio refuses to date women under 25, and what happens when drug dealing goes terribly wrong. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what you need to do to regain control of your life. In 1982, Heisenberg-esque drug dealers in the San Francisco Bay Area developed a new synthetic heroin via underground labs. Their drug caused disastrous effects as young teens suddenly developed Parkinson's disease. Opioid addicts became zombified. Many didn't even blink while staring for hours in tremoring stupors. To make things worse, the damage to the addict's brain could not be reversed. The dealers made a fatal mistake in their concoction. Instead of using MPPP in their drug, they accidentally created something called MPTP. When opioid addicts took the MPTP, it fried their dopaminergic neurons in their brains. This is an extreme example of what happens when your dopamine levels get out of whack. Perhaps you have felt something similar. Have you been lethargic as of late? The feeling that something is off. You want to achieve things, but it's as if your energy has been zapped out. You try to push on, but end up settling for mediocrity. These symptoms could stem from a toxic relationship with dopamine. Dopamine is the neuromodulator in our brain behind our motivation, drive, craving for things outside ourselves. Once thought to be the pleasure molecule, is now better known as the wanting molecule. It's the molecule of more, which has pushed humanity to great heights. Prehistoric man needed dopamine to survive. Without it, he wouldn't have had the motivation to forage, venture out, and find mates. The internet has gone crazy over famous actor Leonardo DiCaprio's tendency to only date women under 25. A graph has gone viral showing his preference for younger females. This is likely due to the dopamine in his brain. Dopamine pushes us towards newer and novel experiences. Leo's dopamine baseline, something we will explain later, is likely higher than that of the average person due to his high-flying Hollywood lifestyle. This is likely the reason why so many celebrities can't seem to maintain a relationship, why many need extreme forms of stimulation like drugs and of course occult blood rituals to feel that kick. In our modern age, we have a terrible problem. Our technology has hit metaverse levels, whilst our evolution is still chilling in the MySpace era. For instance, binge eating was beneficial for a caveman. Caveman needed to take advantage of excess calories because they didn't know when the next meal would come. Your fat ass likely doesn't have the same problem. Ordering greasy food from DoorDash will eventually kill you, my guy.
You got some better food. I don't want that greasy shit. How you gonna sell a big box of grease?
It's no secret that obesity has skyrocketed in the modern world. Let's not forget porn and video game addiction, which are destroying the resolve of young people. We know these things are bad for us, but our biological wiring keeps pushing us to consume more. This phenomena has been called the evolutionary mismatch theory. A big culprit is the infinite sources of dopamine now available to us. You might be thinking, if dopamine makes us feel good, and the lack of it can make us feel horrible, shouldn't we just consume as much as possible? If only it was so simple, my friend. Have you ever wondered why, after experiencing an amazing high, you tend to feel low afterwards? Perhaps you get a promotion, a new client, or win a competition. Why do we feel down after the high?
It's like coffee. You drink coffee, you got the high, and then you crash. Why am I sad?
We feel low because there are no free lunches when it comes to dopamine. We all have a dopamine baseline, which is shaped by our genetics and environment. Your baseline is the average amount of dopamine circulating in your system at any given time. When you pursue something pleasurable, your dopamine levels spike above the baseline. Studies show that consuming chocolate on average spikes dopamine 1.5 times above baseline. Sex? 2 times. Nicotine and cocaine are around 2.5 times. Amphetamines will take you on a wild ride, multiplying the baseline by 10. I don't recommend this. After we experience a spike, we experience a temporary drop below baseline. This is why we feel bad after a big high. If you experience too many spikes, your baseline will increase, requiring you to find more extreme things so that you can feel the same high.
Height of that peak relative to the baseline.
This is why Leo can't leave the young models behind. Paradoxically, you become more addicted to dopamine-inducing activities whilst feeling less pleasure from them. This is why drug addicts stay addicted. Drugs are the only thing which can make them feel anything whilst they roam the realm of hungry ghosts. Playing more video games, watching more OnlyFans content won't make you any happier either. Things will just keep getting grayer and darker. This is why there is a big push for VR as of late, so people can numb themselves with more exciting forms of dopamine. Anhedonia is the state you reach when you can no longer feel pleasure due to your fried dopamine circuits. So what is the solution? The origins of the dopamine detox or dopamine fasting are unknown. The concept was rumored to have gained popularity in Silicon Valley amongst tech entrepreneurs who were looking for a competitive edge. The channel Improvement Pill likely started the trend on YouTube. The central idea behind a dopamine detox is to reduce exposure to highly stimulating activities for a set period of time. People typically do these detoxes from anywhere between 24 hours to 30 days. And the things to be avoided range from the reasonable to the absurd. Social media, drugs, video games, Netflix, sex, pornography, coffee, junk food, listening to music. Some people even go as far as avoiding looking at faces. Here is the reality. Most people making these dopamine detox videos don't actually know how dopamine works. Inevitably, some bro science has been spread. Now, I'm not claiming to be a neuroscientist like Andrew Huberman. I know it's hard to believe, but I don't salivate over the latest dopamine studies. However, I can tell you one thing with certainty. A dopamine detox will not fix your problems. Just like a diet won't make you permanently lose weight, and NoFap won't turn you into Batman. Detoxing from dopamine for a short period is useless, as you will likely return to your usual activities after the fast. We live in a world filled with myriad distractions, which will blast your dopamine baseline to the roof if you allow them. As you avoid one, two new stimulating sources of dopamine will pop up like the Hydra's head.
Hail Hydra.
You can't hide from these distractions, but you can learn to find them unappealing. You can change your relationship with dopamine.
Yes, science!
Through using a few psychological tricks. To understand how this works, we'll need to look at veterans from the Vietnam War.
Good morning, Vietnam!
During the Vietnam War, it was estimated that a majority of US service personnel were frequent heroin users. The heroin in Vietnam was more potent than that found in the US. It likely spiked the dopamine baseline to the roof. Soldiers who had lost morale from fighting a pointless war, lack of support from home, and mental health issues looked towards the drug for relief. At the end of the war, it was predicted 1 in 5 soldiers returning home would be addicted to the drug. With over 1 million people coming home, experts predicted a wide-scale drug epidemic. Something strange happened when the veterans returned. There were basically no addicts. The vast majority of soldiers dropped their heroin addiction and returned to the activities they were engaged before leaving for Vietnam. Heroin is one of the most addictive drugs in the world. These soldiers dropped the addiction with no rehab, no therapists or support groups. It was like they never touched the drug. Many investigators believe that the veterans' ability to drop their addiction came from them changing their environment. I believe the environment change made them change their self-image. Leaving war-torn Vietnam allowed them to drop their identity as a soldier and replace it with father, brother, plumber, or whatever they were before the war. Just like how people forget about their degenerate adventures in Vegas, the habits associated with the war stayed in the war. We regularly do this without thinking about it. We act completely different in one environment compared to another. At work, we are one type of person. With our family members, an entirely different person. The person we show to our friend of 15 years is different to the person we show a stranger we have known for 15 minutes. Our self-image, how we see ourselves at any particular time, is what matters the most in terms of changing behaviors. Our self-image is what allows the subconscious mind, automatic part of the mind, to drop addictive behaviors in the snap of a finger. People who see themselves as smokers never quit smoking. People who see themselves as fat will remain fat forever. Only when the self-concept changes will lasting results follow. Most people doing dopamine detoxes are oblivious to what their self-image is saying about them. They see themselves as losers who lack discipline and procrastinate. They see themselves as being sick and needing something to heal them. A dopamine detox is their band-aid solution to these deeper issues, a compromised self-image. If you want lasting results, you need to become a student of inner work. Learn about your subconscious mind and how to reprogram it. Now, we don't have enough time to cover how this process works in this video, but you can learn how to do this by downloading my free 100-page ebook, Thriving. Click the link in the bio below. We now know that a dopamine detox is not the solution. A change in your relationship with dopamine and self-image is. Luckily, there are a few effective tricks for managing dopamine without fasting.
Don't spike dopamine prior to engaging in effort, and don't spike dopamine after engaging in effort. Learn to spike your dopamine from effort itself.
Andrew Huberman suggests we learn to spike our dopamine from productive activities without external stimulation. For instance, learning to enjoy the dopamine release from working out at the gym, being fully mindful during the workout and focusing on every rep. This can be the reward in itself. If you stimulate your dopamine before a workout by taking pre-workout, listening to heavy metal music, and doing a cold shower just to get that pump, you will eventually need all these things to feel the release. Managing dopamine properly will keep your mood stable and happy for longer periods of time. You will have the drive to do the things you want and still be able to enjoy life's pleasures. Not having too many high stimulating activities in a row will also help keep your baseline steady. You can manage high stimulation activities through using something called an intermittent reward schedule. This is the same process casinos use on poker machines. They are so damn addictive because the reward comes randomly. It's also the technology used by social media companies through their infinite scroll feeds and pop-up notifications. Random rewards release more dopamine than predictable rewards. Perhaps you like to listen to music during your workout. Instead of listening every workout, you could roll a die, and when it lands on 6, you get to blast your earphones. When it lands on 5, maybe you get to take some pre-workout. The other 4 numbers are associated with plain workouts where you just enjoy the dopamine release from the workout itself. This is how you manage your dopamine baseline in a more sustainable way than detoxing. You can use this method for any activity you find highly addictive. Manipulate your environment. Create systems which ensure your dopamine stays in check. The idea is to learn how to get dopamine from activities which are meaningful to you. Right now, you might find studying boring, whilst the professor at Stanford loves the hell out of it. What's the difference? The self-image. The professor loves his work because it reinforces who he is. He would likely gain more dopamine from studying than playing Elden Ring. Why does Elon Musk continue building billion-dollar companies despite being the richest man in the world already? His mind has been wired to gain dopamine from these activities. This is the key for regaining control of your life, changing your self-image so you can gain dopamine from things which make your life better, not worse. Do this and I promise you'll be one step closer to living and dying well.